Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. I welcome you all in the third session of Indian Economy and Social Development in the course Prelims 2024, Target Prelims 2024. In the third session, again we will take up MCQs, multiple choice questions, and we'll try to expand each question in such a way that we cover concepts. The concepts, the themes around which a question is framed, and even if that question is not asked directly, you get some clue with regards to which theme, which philosophy, which concept that question has been asked. So let us start. The first question today, with reference to difference between positive economic and normative economic analysis, positive economic analysis and normative economic analysis, these are the two concepts here. These are the two branches of economics. Consider the following statements. Positive economics, this branch of economics, talks about facts, results, and whatever is happening in this economic circle, in any particular economy. Normative, on the other hand, talks about what should be. So normative is a bit idealistic. Positive economics talks about facts, data and figures. In the light of these two explanations, look at the statement. Statement 1, while positive economics is based on fact and cannot be approved or disapproved, normative economics is based on value judgments. Absolutely correct statement. Positive economics does not talk about what should be, what ought to be. Business houses, how should they conduct? Should word is not there in positive economics. It only explains how things are, how market is behaving, which product is sold maximum. Normative, on the other hand, is idealistic. So first statement is correct. Second, most public policy is based on combination of both positive and normative economics. Absolutely correct. No economic policy making can be based solely on any one branch of economics. There has to be some element of future. Element of future is normative economics, and element of present is called positive economics. So if you look at any government policy, any policy formulation, it emphasizes or it incorporates both branches of economics. Hence, in this question, answer will be C. Both statements are correct, statement 1 and statement 2. Now, second question. Despite being a high saving economy, capital formation may not result in significant increase in output. Capital formation is increasing, but output is not showing a proportionate result. And it happens. A, weak administrative machinery. No. Because if administrative machinery is weak, it will negatively affect even capital formation as well. So if capital formation is taking place, so administrative machinery is not weak. Second, illiteracy. If illiteracy is there, obviously capital formation will not happen. So second option is also incorrect. Third option, high population density. It has nothing to do with output. So we eliminated 3 options. Fourth is high capital output ratio. In yesterday's class I said there is a concept called ICOR. And I told you ICOR and productivity or output both are inversely proportionate. High ICOR, low productivity. Low ICOR, high productivity. So here if capital formation is happening but output is not increasing, that means that economic system is suffering from very high ICOR. So option would be D, fourth option. Now next question. Which of the following options best describe the concept of monotonic preference? Monotonic preference. Some of the questions I have deliberately included from the theory part. When you talk about monotonic preference, it talks about quantity of goods. It has no relation with quality. It has no relation with distance. It relates to quantity. So monotonic preference, option 1, a consumer will always prefer a greater quantity of a good to a smaller quantity. Like if I am getting commodity A and commodity B. Commodity A includes say 10 subcomponents. And commodity B has say 6 components. The monotonic preference, according to this, consumer will prefer item A which is having 10 subcomponents. So thereby option A is correct. Option B, a consumer will always prefer a good that is selling in its vicinity. No, it has no relation with distance. Third, a consumer will always prefer a shop from where he usually buys his product. No, this option is also incorrect. And last, a consumer will always prefer a brand which is highly recognizable to large number of people. So this option is also incorrect. As I told you, monotonic preference talks about quantity of goods. We usually prefer large commodity of any product in comparison with smaller quantity of some other product. So here in this question, option A is correct. Next question. With reference to the factors determining the price elasticity of demand for a good, consider the following statements. First of all, try to understand what is price elasticity of demand. There are 3 types of elasticity. One is price elasticity, second is income elasticity, and third is cross elasticity. Price elasticity means if price of a commodity changes, how much change takes place in the demand. Means price change vis-a-vis demand change. Income elasticity says income change vis-a-vis demand change. And cross elasticity says price of one commodity changes, how does it impact demand for another commodity. So these are the 3 elasticities in economics. The question is related to price elasticity of demand. Look at the first statement. Low priced products often are highly elastic. No. low priced products are inferior goods, are given goods, and since they are low priced, they hardly command any elasticity in their demand. So first option is incorrect. Second option, goods with many alternatives or competitors are elastic. This option, second statement, is correct. For example, if we have mobile, suppose there are 10 brands, or we have, say, chocolate, we have cars, goods with many alternatives. If price of one car goes up, since other brands are also available, other competitors are also available, their demand will go up. It is not like there is only one brand of cars, only one brand of laptops, only one brand of mobile phones. So if price of a particular brand goes up, you will see demand for mobiles of another brand picking up. So thereby second statement is correct. In this question, answer would be B for Bombay. Only the second statement is correct. Now next question. Consider the following statements with reference to oligopoly. First, it is a market that has a large number of small firms. No, it is large firms in small numbers. That is oligopoly. So in the first statement, definition itself is wrongly written. So first statement is incorrect. The profit margins of firms are generally higher than they would be in a more competitive market. Correct, because it is oligopoly. Because here what happens is, there are few firms, number is small, but firms are large. That is oligopoly. Like, say, for example, software, Microsoft, you have cars, you have Apple phone. Number of firm less, but size of firm big. So they decide the price also. They have the capacity, they have some control over prices as well in the market. So second statement is correct. Third, competition between firms in oligopoly market may sometimes lead to the realization of perfectly competitive prices. Absolutely correct. So in this question, second and third statements are correct. Answer is B. And here you have different types of market. For example, monopoly, monopolistic competition, monopsony, bilateral monopsony, perfectly competitive market. So from this question you get a clue that you should prepare other different types of markets as well. And now we'll take up another question. Next question is, RBI uses certain tools to control the supply of money in an economy. This tool requires banks to store a proportion of their deposits in the form of cash. So here cash word is underlined. It is either stored in the bank's vault or it's sent to the RBI, on which no interest is provided. No interest is another key term that you need to understand. The moment you look at the term cash and you look at no interest, it invariably takes you to the answer cash reserve ratio, because this is the major difference between CRR and SLR. In case of CRR, what happens is three major things. It is kept in the form of cash. It is kept with RBI or bank's vault. And third, RBI does not pay any interest on CRR. On the other hand, in SLR, it is investment largely in government securities. Second, it is kept with the bank in liquid form. And third, since it is investment, RBI pays interest on SLR. So if you understand the three major differences between the two variable reserve ratio, you will get the answer of this question. Answer is A, cash reserve ratio. Now another question. Which of the following are the possible impacts of fiscal deficit? Before moving on to the option, what is the meaning of fiscal deficit? It means expenditure is more and government's income or revenue is less. That generates a deficit, and that is called fiscal deficit. So if government's expenditure is more, say in the form of cash transfers, in the form of different types of subsidies, in the form of different welfare measures, what will happen? High inflation, because people will get more liquidity, people will get more money, and more money is equal to increased demand in the market. Second, high tax rates, of course, otherwise how government will meet its expenditure? So second option is also correct, because if my expenditure is increasing, I'll do my level best to increase my sources of revenue or sources of income. So high tax rate. Third, high foreign dependence. High foreign dependence means you will try to attract more and more FDI, FPI, and if these two forms of investments are not coming, government will try to get loans also. So high foreign dependence. Fourth, high sovereign credit rating. No. If your expenses are crossing the limit, your rating will be cut down. Because rating agencies, they rate on the basis of your fiscal prudence, your fiscal austerity. So thereby the fourth option is not correct. Credit rating will be low, not high. And last, high interest rate. Of course this is correct, because if inflation is high, then central bank will try to counter the negative impact of high inflation, and then central bank will try to absorb liquidity out of the market. How liquidity will be absorbed? Central bank will try to bring down the demand. Then obviously central bank will have to hike the interest rate. So option number 1, 2, 3 and 5, this is correct. Answer is C. In this question you need to understand different types of deficits, its possible impact, and the measures that are usually resorted to by the central bank and the government to counter that. So in this question, answer is C. Now next question. Which of the following statements most appropriately define fiscal neutrality? What is the meaning of fiscal neutrality? Fiscal neutrality means government's fiscal policy should have no net effect on the economy. Market should be progressing in its own pace, and government is formulating its fiscal policy alongside. This is the meaning of fiscal neutrality. Now the first point, the inherent automatic stabilization properties of the fiscal system as per the market trends, incorrect, because this happens in case of currency war or by way of competitive devaluation. Second, the deliberate action of the government to stabilize the economy. Deliberate means dirty floating. It is also not related to, second option is also not related to fiscal neutrality. Third, the action taken by the government that has no net effect on the economy. So C option is correct. And the last option, the policy followed by the laissez-faire capitalist economy. No. Laissez-faire capitalist economy talks about no interference. No interference with regards to important decisions of economy. What to produce, how to produce, where to produce, how much to produce, how to price it. These critical decisions are taken by the market forces, that is laissez-faire free market economy. It is not related to fiscal neutrality. So in this question, answer is C, third. Now, next question. With reference to macroeconomics, consider the following statements about marginal propensity to save. Marginal propensity to save, MPS, and marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to consume. These are the two theories of macroeconomics. MPS means additional income will lead to additional savings, and MPC means additional income leads to additional consumption. This is the exact meaning of MPC and MPS. In this light, look at the statement. The MPS reflects the savings amount or the leakage of income from the economy. Second, the MPC is lower for higher income households. MPC is lower for high income household. Correct statement. Because if my income is high, that means I have satisfied my most of the necessary demands. I have good clothing, good shoes, I have basic necessities, I have basic facilities. So if in that scenario my income increases, there would be propensity to save, not to consume. So this is a very correct statement. MPC is lower for high income households than low income households. If my income is less, MPC would be high. What does that mean? With every additional income, that household will seek to satisfy more and more demands because their income level was low. They could not satisfy most of their demands. So this statement is also correct. First is also correct. The MPS is higher for higher income households than lower income households, correct? Because this third statement comes from the second one. In high income countries, in high income households, if we get additional income, there is propensity to save. There is tendency to save, not to consume, because most of the consumption needs have been satisfied. So the third statement is also correct. Answer would be D for Delhi. All three statements are correct. Now we'll take up the another question. Which among the following can be the most likely impact of demonetization? Demonetization means withdrawing currency of big denomination. That the kind of exercise was done in 2016 when 500 and 1000 rupee denomination notes, they had been recalled, they were invalidated. So if demonetization happens, what would be the impact? First, surplus liquidity in the banking system, correct? Because people will deposit their currency with the banks because they can no longer use that currency for their trading transaction purposes. Second, sudden increase in foreign investment. No. Demonetization has nothing to do with foreign investment. Foreign investments are decided by domestic factors and not by demonetization. Third, decrease in GDP growth rate, correct? Because if currency is demonetized, economic activities will shrink. Till the time new money is pumped in the system, economic activities will shrink because the money I have in my pocket, I can no longer use it. I cannot use it anymore. So GDP will contract. And last, short-term deflationary effect, correct? Deflation is opposite to inflation. There would be a tendency of fall in prices because I can't go in the market, I can't make demand. So if demand is not there in the market, that is called deflationary effect. So statement number 1, 3 and 4. These three statements are correct. Answer is C. Now another question. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which one of the following? Money multiplier means the money which is coming in the banking system, how many times it can be multiplied. For example, 100 rupees coming to the banking system, and if reserve requirement is say CRR and SLR, is say 5%, that means 95 can be lent to someone. Bank will keep 5 rupee because that is the mandate by the RBI, because reserve requirement we assumed at 5%. Then again in this 95, 5% will be kept, remaining will be lent in the market. This is money multiplier, because as per Banking Regulation Act, A bank is supposed to keep only that much money with itself, which has been mandated by the RBI under reserve requirement. Remaining money it can lend in the market. That means if more money is coming into the banking system, there would be more money multiplier effect. If out of 100 or in place of 100, if 1000 comes, there would be more money multiplier, because only 5% of 1000 can be kept, remaining can be lent. Thereby directly you get the answer, increase in the banking habit of the people. Because if increase in the CRR, money multiplier effect will go down, because reserve requirement has been increased. So if CRR is increased, banks have to keep more money with itself. Money multiplier effect will go down. So first option is incorrect. Second, increase in SLR, same effect. If SLR is increased, banks have to keep more money, less money multiplier effect. So second option is also incorrect. Increase in the banking habit, it will have positive impact on money multiplier, because if more and more people are depositing their money with the bank, banks can multiply that money multiple times, only setting aside the reserve requirement. So answer is C, increase in the banking habit of the people. Now another question. Consider the following statements. Other things remaining unchanged, market demand for a good might increase if price of its substitutes increases. For example, tea versus coffee. If price of substitute, that is coffee, increases, people will prefer consumption of more tea. So first statement is correct. Second, price of its complement increases. No, such as torch versus battery. That means if price of battery increases, obviously people will consume less torch, because consumption of torch will invariably lead to more consumption of battery, razor blade. These are complementary. So that way second statement is incorrect. Third, the good is an inferior good and income of the consumers increases. No, because if income increases, consumption of inferior goods decreases. And fourth, its prices fall. If price falls, then also demand will go up. Thereby in this question answer is A, first and fourth option. These two are correct. Second and third are incorrect. Now moving on to another question. Consider the following statements with reference to difference between financial institutions and banks. Acceptance of check deposits is a necessary but not sufficient condition for financial institution to the bank. Correct. It is necessary but not sufficient. For example, if you look at post office banks, if you look at payment banks, they don't accept check. If you look at NBFC, non-banking financial institutions, they also don't accept or create checkable income. So first statement is correct. Second, financial institutions other than bank cannot accept demand deposits. Correct. As per Banking Regulation Act 1949, only banks can create checkable income. Other institutions cannot. So from this question, what you need to do is, you need to work on the concept of checkable income. Second, how many types of financial institutions are there? How many different types of banks are there? Because the question is related to bank. It does not say only scheduled commercial bank. These are two different expressions. We have differentiated banking also. For example, small financial bank, local area bank, regional rural bank, cooperative banks. Usually students, they get confused with, the moment they hear the term bank, they consider it as scheduled commercial bank. No. Question is related to banks as a larger entity. And there are different types of, we have non-scheduled commercial banks as well. So from this question, you can get a chart prepared of financial institutions and financial architecture in India. So in this question, both statements are correct. Answer is C. Statement 1 and statement 2. Now, next question. Consider the following statements about the concepts of ex ante analysis and ex post analysis. If you analyze these two terms, ex ante and ex post. Ex ante means analysis based on non-occurrence or when an economic activity has not happened. And ex post, post means after the economic activity has happened. Some activity has happened, after that you do analysis, that is ex post analysis. So the first statement, unlike the ex ante analysis, ex post analysis cannot be used for taking future decisions. Yes, this statement is correct. Sorry, this statement is not correct actually. Why this statement is not correct? Because it is the ex post analysis which can be used. Because now economic activity has happened. Now we have the results of that economic activity. You can analyze and then you can forecast the future course of action. So first statement is not correct. And second, ex ante analysis is considered as less accurate. It is less accurate because till now economic activity has not happened. Everything is based on prediction. That may go wrong as well. It is the ex post analysis which is accurate, more accurate, because now we have data, we have results of any particular economic decision. So thereby in this question, answer is only the second one. Second option is correct. Ex ante is less accurate, ex post is more accurate. Now moving on to another question. An isoquant curve shows combinations of, look at this, isoquant curve. It is like this. On x-axis we have labor and on y-axis we have capital. So before even I make this curve, you got the answer, capital and labor. But for your better understanding, it goes like this, concave shaped curve. This isoquant curve is used to decide how much extra capital you need if you wish to replace 1 unit of labor. Companies, multinational organizations, they take help of isoquant curve to arrive at a trade-off between labor and capital. Like if suppose more laborers are hired, how much extra capital I need to bring down the number of laborers? Their isoquant curve helps us. So in this question, answer is D for Delhi. An isoquant curve shows combinations of capital and labor. If you look at the first option, income and inequality, it is Gini coefficient or Lorenz curve. There are 4-5 important curves in economics. Second, inflation and unemployment, it is Phillips curve. Third, tax rate and the amount of tax revenue collected, it is Laffer curve. So option A is derived with the help of Lorenz curve or Gini coefficient. Option B is derived with the help of Phillips curve, and option C is derived with the help of Laffer curve, George Laffer, who was the economic advisor to the President of America, Ronald Reagan. Along with that, we have one more curve of international trade, that is J curve impact. Then we have another curve, that is Kuznets curve, Kuznets hypothesis. So there are 5-6 important curves in economics, and you will get questions frequently from these curves, if not directly, but for sure indirectly. So such questions help you in taking your attention towards other curves, and you should prepare that in totality as well. Now, another question. Consider the following statements. Production done by a foreign entity within a country is included in gross domestic product of that country. If I look at this question, production done by a foreign entity within a country, it is correct. Second, gross national product includes private remittances received from Indian nationals working outside. This is also correct. Third, net domestic product is used to compare economies of the world. No, it is not NDP, it is actually GDP which is used. In India's case, NNP, net national product, is more than gross national product. No, NNP can never be greater than GNP, because in GNP, when you deduct depreciation, then you arrive at NNP. Not only in India, nowhere in the world, NNP can be higher than GNP. I am not saying GDP, I am saying GNP. NNP will always be lower than GNP, because something is deducted from GNP and that thing is called depreciation, then you arrive at NNP. So in this question, answer is C. Only first and second statements are correct. First and second, answer is C. Now moving on to another question. Which of the following statements best describe the head count ratio? First, it is the percentage of the unemployed population in the country. Incorrect. Because head count ratio is related to poverty. It is not related to unemployment. And we have two types of poverty. First, relative. Second, absolute. Head count ratio talks about absolute poverty. How many people are not even able to get the basic necessities of their life? Relative poverty cannot be measured. It is the absolute poverty which can be measured. So in this case, if you look at this question, you have answer B. It is the percentage of the population living below the national poverty line. It talks about absolute poverty. Means this class of people, they don't have access to even basic necessities of life. Third, it is the measure of the dropout ratio. No. It is the percentage of people employed in a job but not utilized for the production. No. In this question, answer is B for Bombay. That means how many people are below poverty line. Now we are taking another question. In order to arrive at the market price of the product, which of the following are added to the factor cost of the product? Which of the factors are added? In this question, if you look at, it is direct taxes, indirect taxes which is added. Like, what is the difference between factor cost and market price? Factor cost, in this concept we add net indirect taxes and then we arrive at market price. In the concept of national income and accounting, you might have gone through this concept, and net indirect tax is equal to indirect taxes minus subsidies. So subsidy is subtracted, not added. So now look at it. First is total direct taxes. No. Direct tax has no relation with market price or factor cost. It is the indirect taxes which are added. Direct taxes are not at all related to commodities. Subsidies are subtracted. So the answer is B for Bombay. Only the second, total indirect taxes, is the correct answer. Now, next. Under which of the following types of unemployment more people are doing work than actually required? Very simple. This is disguised unemployment. Often we cite the sector of agriculture for that matter. In agriculture, we require, say, 10 number of people, but 50 people are dependent. That is called disguised unemployment, or it is also called underemployment. Now, how do we define employment? How many types of employments are there? You must be knowing that those who are willing to work and who get the work, plus who are willing to work but do not get the work. These two sections of people they constitute labor force, right? And the third class is who are not willing to work. Those who are not willing to work are not considered under labor force. In labor force, we have just two types of people. One, who are willing to work and get the work. And second, who are willing to work but do not get the work. And this question will take you to the concept of how unemployment is measured, weekly status, daily status, and how many types of unemployment are there in this economy or in Indian economy. So this question is quite simple. Disguised unemployment is the correct answer. More people are doing work than actually required. Now next question. Consider the following statements with respect to managed floating exchange rate. If you look at the evolution of exchange rate, the first is fixed system of exchange rate. From there you have crawling peg system of exchange rate. Then you have wider band exchange rate. Then you have managed float system of exchange rate, and lastly you have flexible system of exchange rate. This is how exchange rate system has evolved over time. Now in this managed float, what happens? Floating is allowed. The central bank keeps a monitoring over it. If there is undue, unnatural, abnormal fluctuation in the value of domestic currency, then only central bank intervenes. That is managed float. Now we know the definition of managed float. Look at the statement. In this exchange rate system, the central bank intervene to buy and sell foreign currencies in an attempt to moderate exchange rate movements. This is correct, because if exchange rate movement is taking place in an abnormal way, in an unnatural way, then central bank intervenes. Second, it is also called dirty floating system. Incorrect. Dirty floating system means when central bank intervenes in normal times as well. Market is stable, value of currency is not showing abnormal fluctuation. If then also central bank intervenes, that is dirty floating. Dirty floating is not managed floating. The distorted form of managed floating is dirty floating. So in this question, only first statement is correct. Answer is A. Managed floating is not called dirty floating. Dirty floating is equal to currency war. Now another question. To obtain personal disposable income, which of the following should be deducted from personal income? First of all, what is personal income? Then from personal income, we will deduct disposable personal income. So here, Personal income means from the national income we deduct companies undistributed profit. National income happened. In that national income, companies are earning, companies are getting profit, booking profit. Some part of the profit is kept with the company. That is not distributed either in the form of salary, in the form of any transfer. That is company's reserve. So this money is not reaching to the personal level. This money is not reaching to the household level. And that is why from national income we deduct companies undistributed profit. Then from here we will discuss deduct the corporate tax that companies pay. That company is paying directly to the government. And at this level we will add transfer payments that households receive from government or company or institutions. So thereby we arrived at personal income. Now the entire personal income I don't consume. I cannot keep with myself. This would be a more appropriate statement. The whole personal income that accrued to me, from this income, what I will do is personal income minus I will pay direct taxes, like I pay income tax, I pay some non-taxes like fees, penalties, etc. Non-tax payment when from personal income I subtract taxes and non-tax payment that I am making to the government or company. Answer is B. Now it is disposable personal income. So it is not a very easy concept. Disposable personal income, when you want to arrive at, you have to arrive at personal income. Then whatever income you receive, from that income you are paying taxes. You cannot spend whole. Disposable means the money you can dispose with, the money you can use for yourself. Whole personal income cannot be used for oneself, because from that income you have to pay taxes. And if you have borrowed from a bank, from any institution, you have to pay some non-tax also. You have to pay interest also. After that, whatever is left, that is personal disposable income. So here in this question, answer is B for Bombay, first and second. Disposable personal income. Now we are taking the second another question. With reference to the economy, what does the term de minimis refer to? De minimis. De minimis means it is a concept of WTO with regards to agreement on agriculture, how much subsidy developed countries can give, how much subsidy developing countries can give to their farmers or to their agriculture sector. According to WTO, it is 5% for developed and 10% for developing. 5% and 10% of what? That is also known as AMS, that is aggregate measure of support. Now 5% and 10% of what? Total value of their agricultural product. Like suppose total value of agricultural product in India, total value, that is say 10 lakh crore. Then 10% of 10 lakh crore can be given maximum as subsidy to agriculture sector. That is de minimis level. If India crosses that 10% of 10 lakh crore, then WTO will take action and that will be treated as discriminatory practices. So let me give you a quick recap. De minimis is a concept of agreement on agriculture of WTO. Under this de minimis level, no country can give, if it is developed, more than 5% of the total value of agriculture sector. So de minimis is also known as AMS, aggregate measure of support. Now look at the option. It is the minimum level of SDR, special drawing rights. Prima facie, this option incorrect. Second, it is the minimum amount of subsidies or domestic support that is allowed under the agreement on agriculture. Absolutely correct. Third, it is the minimum level of capital required for a foreign bank to operate in India. No, this de minimis is connected with WTO treaty. And last, it is the minimum amount of trade required for a country to get the status of MFN, most favored nation. So this option is also incorrect. So in this question, answer is B for Bombay. Another question. Recently, the Center for Social and Economic Progress in its report cited concerns about poor critical mineral supply. Critical mineral supply. Which minerals are treated as critical? There are two criteria. One, when it is crucial in both forms. A, in the raw form when it is mined, and B, in its processed form as well. This is the first criteria. When that mineral is supercritical, that means it is crucial, important, essential in both forms, in raw form as well and as well as in processed form. And second, which is very important for your military, say for industrial growth, and if you look at it, the Center for Social and Economic Progress, it has listed 22 minerals as supercritical. 22 minerals are very important according to this report, which includes all 5. Along with, apart from these 5, there are 17 more. So the answer would be D for Delhi. All 5 minerals have been cited as critical according to this report. Now, another question. Which of the following statements best describe the primary deficit? First of all, there are 6 types of deficits. Primary deficit means primary deficit is equal to fiscal deficit minus interest payment and that is why primary deficit is used by incumbent government. Present government to show how much of the deficit is it's making. Because if you consider the whole fiscal deficit, it has the legacy of past as well. It is the primary deficit which will tell clearly and honestly how much deficit has been created by the incumbent or present government. This is the definition of primary deficit. Now look at the option. It refers to the excess of government's revenue expenditure over revenue receipt. This is revenue deficit. It is not primary deficit. Second, it is the fiscal deficit of the current year minus interest payments on previous borrowings. Look at the definition and you will find the answer. Third, it is the difference between revenue deficit and grants for creation of capital asset. It is known as effective revenue deficit. It was started in 2012 or 11-12. Because when government could not fulfill the mandate of FRBM that we discussed yesterday, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, the mandate, the ceiling which was imposed by FRBM, when government failed in meeting those obligations, government came out with this new idea called effective revenue deficit. And last, it is the excess of total expenditure over total receipts excluding borrowing. This is fiscal deficit. So answer is B for Bombay. We saw option A is revenue deficit, option C is effective revenue deficit, and option D is fiscal deficit. Answer is B for Bombay. Next question. Which of the following currencies form a part of special drawing rights basket of currencies? That means SDR basket, that is IMF. First is US dollar, yes. Second is Japanese yen, yes. Third is Chinese renminbi or yuan, yes. From 2016 it has been included. Fourth, Indian rupee, no. Fifth, euro, correct. British pound sterling, correct. So except Indian rupee, all 5 currencies are included in SDR basket of currencies of IMF. So answer would be 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6. D for Delhi. Renminbi or yuan was included in the list in 2016. Another question. Which of the following financial institutions in India are required to maintain the statutory liquidity ratio norms? Very simple. RRBs, yes. Local area banks, yes. Cooperative banks, yes. Small finance banks, yes. Along with these four, you can add payment banks as well. You can add scheduled commercial banks as well. Everyone or every such creature or every such banking institution has to fulfill SLR norms. So answer would be 1, 2, 3 and 4. All 4. This is the answer. Now, last question of today. In the context of the economy, what does autarky mean? There are two types of economies. One is closed, one is open. Indian economy was closed till 1991. Closed economy means we are self-sufficient, we are self-dependent. There is no need for global integration. This closed economy is at times known as autarky. This is the another name for closed economy as well. So thereby, look at the question, option A, an economy having no taxation mechanism. Incorrect. An open economy. Autarky is the another name for closed economy. So the moment you find this open word, option is incorrect. And C, it is a closed economy where no external trade takes place. And last, an economy where sectors are only managed by state having no private sector, no. So it is not a nationalized economy. It is closed economy. That means there is a possibility that the state is also acting in the field of economic activity and private sector is also present simultaneously. So here in this question, answer is C. Thank you friends. Thank you for on the third day. We'll see you in the fourth session of economy.